What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jaleesa, and today I'm kicking off my cocktails and convo series that I'm starting here on my channel. For this series, I'm going to be talking about some hot topics, interesting TV shows that I enjoy, and I'm going to be walking you all through making some delicious craft cocktails. So the way I see it is, you come for the cocktails and you stay for the conversation. And to kick off my series, I'm going to be recapping one of my favorite shows, The Real Housewives of Potomac. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. Today I'll be making a French 75 cocktail. All of the ingredients and the recipe will be down in the description box, and I'll also have my process floating on the side. Now, I will give you all a quick close-up view of all of the ingredients that you'll need to make this cocktail. As I stated, everything's in the description box, but just a close-up view so you know what you'll need to make this cocktail. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Season 7 of The Real Housewives of Potomac. Now, I'm someone who I have been spoiled by Netflix, so I like to wait until the season is over to go and binge watch all the episodes. But because of this idea of cocktails and combos, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start watching this early. And thankfully, because it's the holidays, as you can see all around me, they took a break because Christmas fell on Sunday. So I had the opportunity to go back and catch up with what has happened thus far on the season. And I'll say, so far it is very good. I'm very entertained. I don't watch all of the Real Housewives franchise. I watch, of course, Atlanta, Potomac, and I recently, within like the last year or two, started watching New York and Dubai. But my favorite right now has been Potomac. I feel like Potomac has been holding it down for the Real Housewives franchise. That's just my opinion, y'all. And I think all of the franchises that I watch, they all took a hit once COVID happened. I just think COVID really put a damper in the energy in all the seasons, but I feel like Potomac has been the best Real Housewives franchise that I watch that didn't allow the coronavirus to kind of stifle their energy. And so Atlanta's still trying to recover. I thought the last season was really good, but Potomac has been holding it down. So thus far, after watching the first episode, I will say the people that are standing out to me the most are Mia, Robin, Wendy, Candace, and Ashley. And I say that because I just feel like outside of the instigating of drama, they have other fruitful things going on in their storyline that interest me. So for the first episode, it kind of kicks off with Ashley and her divorce announcement, Wendy meeting with Peter, Robin meeting with Charisse. Those were the things that stood out to me. Something that I enjoyed was the resurgence of Peter and Charisse. I love when we get some familiar faces that come back from other housewife franchises or previous seasons. And I was a big fan of Peter Thomas on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I loved him, and he's a nice piece of eye candy because on Potomac, with the exception of Eddie, we don't have that much eye candy when it comes to the husband. So definitely enjoyed seeing him. I did not like him instigating a whole bunch of drama. I'll get into that a little bit later. A lot of the first episode, in my opinion, centered around Ashley and her divorce scenario. And then we got the growing rumbles of Chris and everyone just, oh my gosh, Chris, it's annoying. Let me shake. Karen's spring fling taco party was kind of the kickoff to the season. That was like the first major event. For me, as I continued watching this season, there were a few events that stood out to me as like, okay, these are the things that are really going to be the make or break of this season. The first one was Ashley's divorce. Second thing is this whole Chris narrative. The third was the burn session. And then the Miami trip. those were like the key things this season so far that have stood out to me. So I'll break each and every one of those things down, my opinions, my thoughts, once I finish my cocktail. So we've got our finished product. I'm about to go sit down and we're gonna continue getting into this season of Real Housewives of Potomac. All right, so we have our final product, our French 75. I know y'all's looks just as good. And cheers. Ooh, that's good. All right, so jumping back into the key significant moments that have happened thus far this season. So the first one for me is the Ashley divorce drama situation. I somewhat empathize with her. I have thankfully never been divorced, nor have I gone through that divorce process, but I can only imagine as a person going through a divorce, there is some adjustment and acclimation that you have to go through, especially since it almost seems like there's no bad blood between her and Michael. It's just that he wants something different than what she wants right now. So I guess that does validate the weirdness of the situation. But I know for me personally, I'm the type of person where it's like, look, if we are done, if we are breaking up, if we're divorcing, like I need a clean cut. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. So it's weird that they are still living together. It's weird that they are in the process of buying a house together. It's weird that she is still almost like really trying to operate and function as a married couple, but also moving forward with a divorce. It's just weird to me. It's confusing. Something that I will say that I thought was insightful, and I was like, while I was watching it, when Karen was talking to Giselle at her spring fling taco party, Karen made a valid point, and the point was that Ashley's not smart. Michael wants to stay up in that penthouse, and Ashley wants a home. And it's very well possible that Ashley is, throwing out this, let's get divorced, let's separate, so that it prompts and motivates Michael to buy her the home that she wants. And it's a possibility that Ashley isn't really going to follow through with this divorce, but is only throwing this out here so that she can get the home that she wanted. And I thought that was very insightful. And I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I will say that as a fan of this show from day one, I have always thought and had a suspicion that both Ashley and Michael are using each other. And what I mean by that is, I believe Ashley, if you've watched some of the previous seasons, being raised by a single mother, not really knowing who her father was until later on in life, or not really having a connection with her father, a real relationship with her father, growing up in hardships. Being a young woman, she married an older man who has some shmoney. And I mean, even Ashley has made little shades towards Michael about, him not being the world's greatest looker. And he's not, he's weird. Their whole relationship was weird for me personally. And as you all have seen in the early stages of the series, when Michael was actually on the show, Michael had his discretions, infidelity. I just feel like they have used each other. Ashley has benefited from the fact that Michael is well off. He's able to take care of her and provide for her to where she will not want for anything financially. And Ashley has helped Michael because he is able to kind of keep up that persona of, I have a beautiful wife, beautiful young wife, and a happy home. I've got this picturesque, what people would say is how you're supposed to live your life. But I'm also able to do my dirt in the street and do what I like to do with whomever I like to do it with. So I've always thought that they have used each other, and it would not surprise me if Ashley is really kind of at a point where, hey, I really want this white picket fence life. I want to settle down. I don't want to be in, as Karen referred to it, as Concrete City, living in this penthouse. I really want this family home. Michael's not for that, but it's like, I'm still going to get my way. So I'm gonna throw out this divorce and I may not even follow through with it, but I'm gonna throw it out here because I want you to get me what I want. So only time will tell. I will say I'm not one of those type of people that follow all these people on social media. So what they are doing now, we shall see. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I'm not too convinced that she is going to divorce Michael Darby. I'm just not wholeheartedly convinced. Nor am I wholeheartedly convinced that she's the one initiating it. I only say that just because she's really backpedaling a lot with this whole, I want to divorce and leave Michael. I wouldn't be surprised if Michael's like, deuces, I don't want to be with you. I'm trying to move on with my life, or I'm tired of this show. I'm tired of being the center of conversation and being bashed, because let's not act like the streets love Michael Darby. I cannot stand that man. But that's a whole nother conversation. I wouldn't be surprised if he's just tired of it and he wants to kind of go live his own life where he can live a fluid, happy life in these streets, doing whatever with whomever, and not have to continue to be bashed for hurting Ashley. Because let's not act like in the previous seasons, his actions and habits did not run her through the mud. It was horrible the way that he treated her. And who knows, maybe she did initiate the divorce, but she hasn't found her upgrade yet who can help her sustain her lifestyle, and therefore she's not completely ready to let go of Michael. So only time will tell. Right now, based on where we're at, episode 11 of season 7, I'm not wholeheartedly convinced that she is about to divorce Michael, but we'll see. Comment below if you think she is going full out, I'm leaving him, or if you're like me, you're not totally convinced, because I'm not, y'all. So when it comes to the Chris situation, just to give a little bit more details and context, there are a few women on the show, particularly Giselle and Ashley, and some of the friends of the show, who are basically saying that Chris has made them feel uncomfortable, whether it be having conversations with these women in private areas where, you know, Candace or other crew members are not around, or sliding into people's DMs. I think what is frustrating me about this situation is the fact that when you don't provide important details, it makes it seem like, oh my gosh, she's being super inappropriate, and like we need to really get into like getting rid of him. He's being uberly inappropriate. We're getting into a Me Too situation. But when the women start pressing people like Giselle and Ashley for more details, you realize that, oh, it's not that bad. It's actually really innocent. The Ashley and Giselle situation, I understand where both of them were coming from in regards to wanting to mention it to Candace, because as a married woman, if I find out my husband is DMing a friend of mine or any woman, I'm gonna wanna know, like, please do not let this catch me off guard. And even with Chris having a conversation with Giselle in her hotel room during the last reunion, I wanna know that too. Like, I believe if you're married, yes, you can have friends of the opposite sex, that's not an issue. But I definitely think that you have to make sure you carry yourself a certain way. And I do think to a certain extent, Giselle had a valid point. Like, Chris is a married man. He's in my hotel room talking to me when nobody else is there. She stated that he didn't do anything. She didn't feel like he was pressing her or trying to hit on her, but it is a valid point. Like, it is somewhat inappropriate, and I could see where she felt a little bit uncomfortable. I think the issue that I have with it is she was phrasing it and running around talking about it like he was trying to get at her, when I think she was more so just uncomfortable at the idea of like, I'm in a hotel room having a conversation with a married man and no one else is there, and I don't want anyone to think that like I was trying to press her husband or press Candace's husband or trying to get at him, and I don't want anyone to think that he was trying to get at me. Like, that's how, if we take away all the added drama and all that type of stuff, like that's how I see the situation, where it's just like, outside looking in, if you told me that a married man was in a hotel room talking to an unmarried woman, it looks and sounds really bad. And I could see where she felt uncomfortable because she does not want to be, you know, a part of any type of drama or narrative that she was in a hotel room alone with a married man. Robin and Candace both asked her, like, did he try to do anything? Like, and she said, like, no, like, he didn't try to do anything. When I asked him to go see what time I needed to go back on set, he immediately left the room and did what I asked him. So it's almost like, why are you trying to blow this up, or why are you trying to package this like, oh, you know, he tried to, you know, do this, do that. It's like, no, that's dangerous. Like, I feel like that's dangerous. I feel like you're stepping into very bad territory where in order to create a narrative or story, you're willing to possibly get someone in trouble. All these other women to pile on things where it's just like, you all know it's not much there. Like the whole Ashley Chris DM thing. Initially, when Ashley stated it, I was like, oh snap, like this is bad. Like if my husband was sliding into one of my friends' DM, I would have an issue. I will give credit to Robin, although I'm like hot and cold, up and down with her. I really want to like her and enjoy her, but she has moments where I just, I can't stand it. I'll get into it later, but I will give credit to Robin from the standpoint of I appreciated her calling both Giselle and Ashley out. Giselle basically saying like, look, girl, you were blowing this up. You said it yourself. The door was open when you asked him to leave and go, you know, check something for you. He did. Like, he didn't do anything to like violate your personal space or violate you. So why are you blowing this up? And I appreciate her clearing up the Ashley situation, because based on the way Ashley said it, you would have thought that Chris had really just randomly slid into her DM when she was like, you posted a, you know, Insta story that you were at this club in DC, and he responded to that story and said you should have been at his rooftop bar where he's the manager of, which he's trying to grow and promote. So it's like, why are we trying to make it seem like he just out of nowhere, out of the blue, was trying to highlight you in the DMs? Like, I do not like that. And then you've got Mia saying, well, Chris was looking at me, and then thankfully the producers are like, he won't pay you no mind. And then in this upcoming episode this Sunday, you've got Ashley's friend basically saying that Chris and Eddie were trying to, like, I just feel like, okay, this is a forced narrative, in my opinion. You all are trying to force something on us that is not there. I hope that after this season, the whole husband trying to find a husband on the show to throw under the bus, I hope this is done. I mean, you really don't have too many more husbands to throw under the bus, because I mean, after Chris, you've got Juan, who is not a husband. He's Juan. Him and Robin have their own thing going on, but Juan's not a husband. Giselle's not married. Oh, we've got Gordon. Gordon will be next. That will be the next husband, because we haven't gotten into him. And if you're watching and you're kind of already seeing the Mia, her best friend, that's brewing up to be something. And I'm sure next season Gordon will be the one that they go after and throw a whole bunch of random crap on him. So stay tuned. I'm hoping we're done with this, because it's really tiring. And again, I feel like we're forcing something that is not there. The first couple of seasons, when it was Michael Darby, that made sense. There was actual evidence and pictures and things to show that Michael was out here just being a hot mess and being disrespectful to Ashley. All the other husbands that have come, Chris, Monique's Chris, Eddie, and Candace Chris, is just like, there's not much outside of these women's word saying that, oh, these men are doing this, but it's like, I just don't see it. I don't see it. So we'll see what happens next season. Who will be the next husband? So the last two things that stood out to me this season, I'm going to kind of merge them together because they flowed seamlessly. The first one was the Wendy Burns session, and then the second was the Miami trip. And so some of the themes that I got from both of those events were, I don't know why, but this season everyone is anti-Wendy. Do not know where it is coming from. Well, I lied. I do know that last season, when they took that trip down to Williamsburg, 757 area. But when they took that trip down to Williamsburg and the whole Eddie drama was going on last season, Wendy kind of really started popping off on them last season, and it rubbed everyone the wrong way. And that was really the catalyst of Robin and Wendy's fallout. But something that frustrates me about particularly Giselle, but some of the other ladies like Ashley and Robin is like, they start these rumors, they start instigating and like really trying to dig up dirt on people. And then when individuals like Candace and Wendy come for them, rightfully so, they get all upset and Wendy, don't talk to me, you being fake. It's like, what do you expect? Like, you're coming for my husband. Do you really think I'm just gonna sit here and let you attack my husband and then not call you out? It bothers me. And I think that's another reason why I'm a huge fan of Candace. Candace is probably my favorite out of the entire Potomac franchise. And I know a lot of people can't stand Candace because she goes below the belt. She goes for the juggler. But I like her because it sounds bad, I kind of see myself in her. Like, I'm the type of person, like, I'm cool with everyone, I get along with people, but when you come for me and you do something that I feel like you hurt me, you're trying to tear me down, like, I am going to go off and I'm going to go for the jugular. And it may seem like I'm being super vicious and I'm going below the belt, but you have no control how people respond and react to what you say or do. So it's always important to be mindful and careful of what you say to people and what you do to people, because you cannot control how people respond. And so it always frustrated me when people would always get mad at Candace and what she said and what she did. Some of it was bad, I will say that, but it always frustrated me because it's just like, at the end of the day, she's saying these things because these women on this show are dragging her through the mud. Like, every season that Candace has been on, I feel like at the beginning of the season, she's very friendly with everyone. Even this season, friendly with Giselle, friendly with Ashley, friendly with Robin, Karen, Mia, like all of them. She is trying to get along with everyone, but it's until people like Giselle and Ashley really start trying to come for her and her family and her brand that she's like, I'm not playing that. And Wendy's the same way. And so with the burn session, I think it was from a good place, and I appreciated Wendy kind of trying to get the women together to hash out their issues. It frustrated me how you have Robin and Giselle, stuff from last season they're still holding on to, and things that they were the ones who started it, especially Giselle. It's like, you're mad at Wendy for dragging you through the mud, but you were the main person who kept bringing up the Eddie narrative. Even if you weren't the instigator of that rumor, it's like, you keep bringing life to it. You keep bringing it up on the show. If it's not that big of a deal, squash it, leave it alone. So for you to still be holding on to that stuff, it's ridiculous. So the fact that they came to the burn session with an attitude, one, when it comes to Robin, Wendy clearly laid out, hey, this is how we're going to execute this burn session. So Robin, if you had something that was really irritating you about Wendy, you should have just spelled it out in detail. Even if you didn't want to write it all down on the sheet of paper, just go ahead and be very specific and direct about it. And Robin was just like, look, you and I are oil and water. We don't mix, and that's all I gotta say. I don't blame Wendy for being like, okay. Like, I clearly articulated what the rules of this engagement was. If you didn't want to elaborate on that, I apologize for contributing to that, and let's move on. So I felt like Robin brought that upon herself. But on the flip side, I will call out Wendy and say, you know why she's upset. So if you really wanted to kind of be the bigger person and get into that, just go ahead and do it. Because obviously Robin and Giselle, They did not come to the burn session to resolve anything. They came to the burn session to just be the Green Eye Bandits, be Robin and Giselle, and really just be instigators, haters, and, you know, not really try to move forward. So I will call Wendy out on that. When things happen early on in the season or at different points and the ladies are talking about it, I appreciate the fact that they are doing flashbacks to like really, let's clear this up. And Robin, while I don't think it was intentional, she made it seem like, you know, nobody had to hold me back from fighting you, and then flashback. And then she called Charisse, and Charisse sat on the phone and said that didn't happen. But then, you know, we see the footage and she did. Like, Charisse did hold Robin back. Now, I think Robin was trying to fight Wendy? I don't think so. I don't really feel like Robin was going to fight Wendy. Like, we've seen when Robin is ready to throw down. If we remember, I think it was season 2 of Potomac, where Robin was really finna like throw hands with Ashley. We've seen when she was ready to throw down. I think it was season 3, season 4, when Robin was going at it with, oh gosh, was it Candace or Monique? Like, we've seen when Robin's ready to fight. Like, she will dag near get to that point of, I'm really about to slap this hoe, and somebody has to like really aggressively step in between her and that person. What Charisse did to Robin, like, I don't think Robin was trying to fight Wendy at all. I don't. Like, I believe Robin like can really like fight. I believe if Robin wants to fight somebody, like, I believe she will. And I don't believe she wanted to fight Wendy. But on the same stroke of breath, being on the receiving end, Wendy, I could believe where Wendy may have thought like, Robin's gonna put hands on me, or Robin was trying to fight me, but I don't believe that. Another interesting point of the burn session was the Ashley and Candace moment. Y'all, when Potomac first started, I liked Ashley. I was a huge fan of her. I just can't. She gets on my nerves, y'all. She does. And I think the reason for it is like, Ashley was doing her own thing. She wasn't really like, she didn't really have a clique that she ran with. Like, she was cool with everyone. And she did a good job in calling people out on their BS. But I feel like as the seasons have gone on, I feel like Ashley comes off like a mini Giselle, where like she will go and poke and prod for drama when I feel like it's not really there, nor is it necessary. Or she'll stir the pot when it's just like, I get it, like the show is more interesting when we have drama, but like there's a way to do it to where it doesn't seem like you're being calculated. And she comes off as very calculated, and she gives me mini Giselle vibes. And that's kind of how I felt about this burn session. We can give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe, you know, she met with Candace on Saturday, her homegirl called her on Sunday, and then Monday they're doing this burn session. That is valid. But I also feel like if you were trying to mend this relationship with Candace, as Candace stated that she was, you could have picked up the phone and called her instead of like bringing it out in front of the group about her husband. And again, it's just another narrative about another moment where they're trying to really squeeze water out of a rock with this Chris situation. I think it was just so tasteless the way that she brought it up. And then for her to be on some like, well, you don't like it because, you know, Candace put her and Michael's relationship on blast years ago and constantly. Like, one thing, again, I am a Candace lover. I love Candace. She's my favorite. One thing Candace is going to do is call out Michael Daugherty, which she should, because he is trash. And so I kind of felt like it was a moment for Ashley to get that one moment to throw Chris under the bus, because Candace has consistently thrown her husband Michael under the bus. But it was reaching, it was doing the most. And again, I think it's just a moment where Ashley is trying to create and add on to this narrative of Chris being this creeper, when I think everyone can see that it's not the case. It's not the case. It's just these ladies trying to find someone to pick on, and Candace and Wendy seem to be the people that they are going after this season. With my whistle, y'all, there's a lot of talking. This leads me to Miami, which off the bat, the Miami thing, it gave a Mean Girls vibe. It's like, we're getting there. Mia has this big house and she's doing the rooms. Mia's being shady with the room with Candace and Wendy and not really putting it out there that they're supposed to be sharing not only a room but a bed. Then they're getting ready to go to dinner and you've got Mia getting a phone call from Peter and Peter basically saying, I got beef with Wendy. And then Mia going and repeating that to Giselle and Ashley and them gossiping about Wendy. It just gave like a Mean Girl vibe. So fast forward, they're at the dinner. Peter comes out. He makes a comment like, I sent you some paperwork, you didn't sign it. Wendy was like, nope, check your email. And Mia is really like on this hill, really fighting and defending Peter, which, you know, in the words of Nene Leakes, like, stay out of women's business. Like, I don't know why Peter decided to insert himself in this situation and decided to bring up this whole Wendy didn't sign the paperwork. Well, initially, that was the first thing he said he had beef with Wendy about. And then the second thing was because she is in his city at his restaurant and she didn't let him know. And it's like, I'm with Wendy. It's like, you're not my husband. Why do I need to announce to you that I'm coming to your restaurant? Like, why can't you be appreciative that I am supporting your business? According to Wendy, she didn't even know they were going there. Like, this was a Mia planned thing. Like, unless the itinerary was sent out the night before, and maybe that's something that goes on behind the scenes that we as viewers don't know, that when they go on trips, they send out the itinerary and they know everywhere they go. Maybe, but from the outside looking in, it's like, it seemed like Mia planned this dinner, chose Peter's bar, and Wendy got there and was like, oh, I didn't know we were going to be here. Great. But it's just kind of like, why are you making a big deal about it? And then Mia, why are you going so hard and trying to defend Peter? I promise you, during the Miami trip, Mia reminded me of people that I went to school with, where it's like, you have a girl and a boy, they're like really cool. They grew up together, they lived around the corner, whatever it may be. And anytime you see this boy and girl together, they're always like, that's my brother, da 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 da, or that's my sister. And it's like, they go so hard to remind people and convince people that like they are cooler than the other side of the pillow, when it's just like, we get it. You all grew up together, you all know each other, you all are best friends, like, we get it. You don't have to keep reminding us of that. And I felt like that's what Mia was doing, trying to validate and make us believe that her and Peter were super cool. Although this is the first time we as viewers are hearing about Mia and Peter all being connected. It's just like, we get it. So that was annoying. And then again, it was just kind of like, even if that's your brother, even if y'all cool, kiki, whatever, it's like, why are you getting into his business? Like, you all could be cool, but I'm pretty sure you're not on his payroll. You are not working for any of his bar ones. It's like, why are you going so hard to be in this man's business? Whatever he and Wendy have going on, that's between he and Wendy. So fast forwarding to the fight, all triggered up and generated up because Mia is going ride or die for Peter. And it's just like, girl, it's not that serious. Like, Peter, and I felt like Peter's comment about, oh, I got beef with Wendy was like on some, I'm annoyed to a certain extent. Maybe from Peter's standpoint, I didn't get the paperwork. From Wendy's standpoint, she sent it. And so maybe there was a little bit of shade and annoyance in that, but I don't really feel like he was that pressed or that serious about, yeah, I got this deep-seated beef with Wendy. Like, I don't think it was the case. But for Mia to go so hard, fast forward to the fight, the drink throwing, it's like, again, as I stated earlier, Wendy and Candace, they're really well-spoken and really good with their words, and they have aspect in them where they can say things to people and it will agitate them and get under their skin. And that's what Wendy did. Nowhere in the conversation did Wendy bash Mia's husband, but Wendy kept talking and was talking circles around Mia, and all Mia could do was, oh, that's my brother, blah, 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 blah. And Wendy started speaking some things that, you know, she may or may not have known were true. There were rumors, as you know, I'm sure you all have seen going on in the rest of the episode. There were rumors about Mia and Peter's ex-girlfriend or girlfriend at the time, whatever it may be. And Wendy had a little bit of knowledge of it, but you know, she never bashed Gordon or said this, that, and the third, but just her sprinkling that out there, it got under Mia's skin and she threw a drink. And Mia was getting into other people's business that she had no business getting into. She was getting into other people's business, wanted to be, you know, the PETA defender, and Wendy was talking circles around her, and Mia didn't know what to say or do or how to come back at Wendy, so she decided to take it physical. And I will say, prior to getting into the season, I thought that Robin and Giselle were just so hypocritical and they phony, blah, 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 because I just think that about them from what I've seen in the past seasons. But watching the situation, it's like, oh, okay, they were definitely being phony. And they did not keep the same energy with the Wendy and Mia situation as they did the Monique and Candace situation. Both of them definitely did say that Mia was wrong, especially Robin. I can honestly 100% say that there were numerous times where Robin had said Mia was wrong for throwing the drink. Mia shouldn't have done that. Wendy, you're being condescending. So I felt like some of the things in the interviews that I've seen Robin saying, like, oh, you know, I was saying this and the third. A lot of people are like, no, she didn't know she did. It's like, if you go back and watch it, she definitely was saying like Mia was wrong. She shouldn't have thrown the drink. But I think when it boils down to it, like Robin and Giselle don't like Wendy. So, you know, although Mia was wrong, they low-key internally are like, I'm glad somebody did it because I was ready to do it too, but I ain't trying to lose my job. But, you know, Mia was wrong, but I'm glad somebody threw a drink at Wendy. Like, I feel like that's what Robin and Giselle were thinking. And I mean, we're all human. It's wrong. Mia shouldn't have done it. Mia should not have thrown that drink. But if I didn't like you and somebody threw a drink at you, I probably would have carried myself like Robin and Giselle, like, oh, it's wrong, but it was entertaining and I'm happy someone did it. One last point about Miami, the Mia and her best friend narrative. I'm interested to see how it goes. I think it's really weird, just from the standpoint, and I say weird from the standpoint of her and her best friend are uberly close, like uberly close. Like, I've never done some of the things that she and her best friend have done. But it's also weird because Mia has a way of like taking shots and throwing shade at her best friend, where it's like, are y'all really best friends? Like, is this one of those friendship situations where you think you're better than her in certain aspects and you keep her around to make you feel good about yourself? Like, I get that vibe and energy from their best friend relationship, that one of them feels like they're superior to the other one, but it's an aspect of like that person's not really confident in themselves. So, oh, I keep this person around because, oh, I think I look better than them, or I think my life is better than theirs. So that's why I deem you as my best friend. Their relationship gives me vibes of they are best friends because they've known each other for years, and there have been significant events that have happened in their lives where they've relied and depended on each other. But there has also been moments of like envy of the other person. That's the vibe they give me. And I think that's something that's slowly starting to develop, which I am interested to see how it goes, but I'm also kind of nervous to see how it ends, because I feel like the way that this best friend narrative is developing, like I can see it being a really, really bad, like into a story. The things I wanted to mention and highlight, so far, Karen isn't really bringing a whole lot, but that's not to say she's lacking something. I will say, this brings me to my next point, Charisse. As I stated earlier, I'm a big fan of the Real Housewives franchise, bringing in people from other Real Housewives franchises, or bringing in people from like older seasons. So I am excited and happy that Charisse is in this season, but I will say, I feel like there isn't anything significant going on in Karen's storyline, and I feel like Charisse is being brought in to be that significant figure, or she's either being brought in to be that significant narrative, or Charisse is trying to create that narrative for herself, and coincidentally it happens to like encompass Karen. Like Ashley has the divorce, Candace has her growing, blossoming music career, along with trying to, hold it down for her man and be her man's defender with all these allegations. Wendy has all these things that she's managing in her life as far as businesses and stuff, and this beef with Robin and Giselle and all that. Mia has her best friend and whatever's going on with them, the beefs that she has with other people. But, Karen and Giselle don't have really anything significant on their own. Like all their issues are encompassed with other people, if that makes sense. And I think it works for Karen. I think Karen is just a great person to have on the show, and I love her energy. And she is a personality and an event, and you just want to watch what she does. But Charisse is coming in, and they keep trying to nag this Karen not wanting to talk to Charisse or ignoring Charisse, and I don't know if I'm excited for it just because, as Karen stated, and in Karen's defense, it's like they fell out, they had an issue, whatever, regardless of whether Charisse was right or Karen was right, or Charisse was wrong or Karen was wrong. Like they bumped heads. They used to be cool. They're no longer cool, and they just don't have a relationship anymore. And I feel like now they're trying to create this like, oh, Karen is pressed over Charisse. And I guess I don't know if I'm personally buying it. I don't feel like Karen is pressed over Charisse being a part of the picture. I think Karen is just like, oh, hey, Charisse, like, you're around, but we're not friends. And it's not that I'm worried about you. It's not that I'm pressed about you, but it's just like, we had our issues. We haven't talked since then, and that's that. Feel like, this is my opinion, so truth to this, but I feel like because I think Charisse is really now a friend of the show, and maybe there may be a possibility that she comes back. I do not know. I do not have that tea. I do not know. I do not have that tea. I'm just saying, like, she is one of the OG Potomac housewives, and she didn't leave on any bad terms, and I think I'd be interested to kind of see where she is now that she's divorced from her ex-husband. So I feel like there's always that possibility that Charisse would come back, and I think it would be she would be welcome to come back. And Charisse has a way of stirring up drama, and she doesn't seem as messy or catty as Giselle does, but it's definitely entertaining. I feel like this may be Charisse's way to kind of make a lane for her possible return. Again, I don't know. That's just my opinion. Let's not forget that a lot of the reasons why these women are cool with each other are because of Charisse. And then last, Juan and Robin, I don't think they're gonna get married, y'all. I don't. I didn't spend a lot of time on it this episode, the Juan and Robin narrative, because again, like, I feel like that's the one aspect of Robin's storyline that has nothing to do with the other ladies. But at this point, I do not think they're gonna get married. I think that they are putting on a front. I believe that they are comfortable with being roommates and co-parents to each other. I do not think they're gonna get married. Y'all comment below. Every time I see Juan get on the camera this season, he seems so disinterested in everything going on. He does not care. He doesn't care about the prenup. He doesn't care about this wedding situation. Like, it's like, whatever you want to do, Robin. And I just feel like he is not really in it at all. And I feel like Robin's not into it either. Like, even if personally they did not want to have a grand wedding, I'm not a Bravo insider. I'm just a regular person who loves the show and watches these franchises enough to pick up on like trends. I know that most times on the Real Housewives franchises, like, weddings are like a big deal. And I mean, there have been other women from previous franchises that they get spin-off series based on their wedding. Let's not overlook Bethany on the Real Housewives of New York, or Candy on Atlanta. They got like an entire spin-off just centered around their weddings. And then let's talk about Nene, Cynthia, Brooke. That's not Brooks. I don't know, the woman, the white woman off Real Housewives of Dubai who married the young guy. Like, they didn't get spin-offs, but like there were 3-4 episodes just dedicated to their wedding and the drama and everything that went into the wedding. And again, I don't know if those individuals are paid more because you're having a wedding and so you get more because you're bringing more to the show, or maybe you don't get paid more, but maybe you maybe Bravo pays for certain things for that wedding because it's like, oh, you know, we're going to film this wedding, you know, you're allowing us access into your wedding so we could possibly help out with certain things. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I'm not a Bravo person. I'm just speculating. But again, I would think that being on the show, being on this franchise, there may be more incentive to actually have a grander, bigger wedding because you're on the show, and there may be perks to sharing that with the franchise. And I mean, if that's their true personality, kudos to them for being true to themselves. But honestly, like, I don't think they're gonna get married. I think that they are truly happy and content with being roommates who co-parent very well and who live together. That's what I think. So y'all, that concludes my recap. Again, I just recapped episode 1-11 of season 7 of the Real Housewives of Potomac. I plan on doing more up-to-date recaps now that I've caught up with the series. So comment below what you like. Comment below if you have a different perspective, y'all. Like I said, I don't follow these people on social media, and I'm not searching on the blogs to kind of find all the hottest things that's going on. Like, I'm a viewer, just like most of y'all, that just enjoys the show and is able to pick up on things that like I like or I don't like, I agree or I disagree. So I'm here. I want to have a conversation, y'all. This is Cocktails and Combos. Comment below if you made the French 75 and you enjoyed it. And comment below and let me know other things that you all want to talk about. I'm starting and kicking this series off on Potomac, but I plan on doing other series as well as, sometimes some of the stuff I don't even want to talk about TV. Some of the stuff I just want to talk about what is hot and going on. What are some hot topics? I wish, you know, this is kind of past, semi-past. I had initially thought about, you know, going down the Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion case, y'all, because y'all, that was a lot. It was a lot. And I had a lot of thoughts and opinions, but I said, you know what? We'll let that go. Let everyone move on and process it. And so I thought this would be a fun, light way to kick off Cocktails and Combos. But I want to, and I plan on doing more of these centered around shows, centered around hot topics, centered around, you know, just things going on in the culture, celebrity gossip, whatever it is. Like, this is meant to be fun, have a good time, talk, socialize over some good cocktails, y'all. So comment below some of your thoughts, your opinions, and I will see you all in the next video, y'all. I will be doing a recap, my thoughts and things of that sort for the episode that's coming up this Sunday, episode 12. So I will see you all there. Peace.